Hey there, David Craig White here, and in this video I'm going to share with you my top 10 sales books of all time, and I'm also going to tell you how you can win a signed copy of my new sales book, Stop Talking, Start Selling. So stay tuned. Okay, so last week I published a book trailer for my new book, Stop Talking, Start Selling. And one person, Stephen Palange, who's an account manager at TLIC Worldwide, purchased the book straight away and took straight to LinkedIn to ask me the question of what are your top 10 sales books of all times. So I promised I'd make this video for you, Stephen. Here it is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people would be interested in some of these books as well, because they'll be great. Now I should tell you in advance that this isn't going to be a list of 10 sales books as such. In fact, there's actually only one real sales book in the list, and the rest of these are books which people in sales can use, but also people in business in general, or entrepreneurs. Anybody in sales, marketing, or business in general can get value from any of these books. And I picked these 10 books because they've had an influence on my career personally, not only as an entrepreneur, but also when I was a salesperson as well. And I strongly believe that after you've sort of read 2 to 3 really good sales books, if you work in sales, then you're going to get the most inspiration and the most creative ideas out of reading books from different type of industries, and then taking away some lessons and some ideas and principles from those areas and bringing them into your own profession. And that also works the other way around. So I also believe that if you work in advertising, marketing, or any other business, you can also read some sales books, learn a lot about them, and take the ideas into your own profession and make them work for yourself as well. So let's get started with this list of 10. First on my list is the one and only sales book in the list, and was actually pretty much the one and only sales book of my career. And that is this, How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. As you can see here, I've got the real old school 1980 published edition. I was actually born in 1980 to give you an idea of sort of how old this book is. Not that I'm that old, of course. And of course, I bought the updated version as well a few years back. Now, Tom Hopkins is a master of sales. He's known in the US as sort of being the #1 sales trainer of the US. He's renowned for sales training. He made his name in the real estate industry. And all I can say is, if you're in sales, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter the fact that this book was published in 1980. If you take this book and read this book, I guarantee that you will be able to pull out some really good selling techniques, strategies, and just a fundamental understanding of selling as a whole. Now, despite the fact Tom was a real estate salesperson, this book can be applied to anybody who works in real estate or any other sales job, whether you're face-to-face or whether selling over the phone. Classic book. Definitely get yourself a copy of this one. Now, book number 2, what I would recommend for you, is a book one of my CEOs gave to me during my transition from salesperson into team leader, sales manager. And that is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Now, you'll see this here I've actually got is the personal workbook. I enjoyed the book so much that I also bought the workbook. And this is from a personal development perspective and a leadership development perspective. This is a fantastic book. So I definitely recommend The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Get yourself a copy of this or get it on audiobook, Kindle, whatever. Really good book. Next in my list is a book from the queen of presentation design, and she loves it when I call her that. And that is Nancy Duarte's Persuade Presentations. This is a super practical book on how to deliver a persuasive presentation to an audience, whether it's 100 people, 500 people, or whether it's some senior decision makers in a boardroom who you're trying to sell to. I think any salesperson can take something from this book. The minimum what you should take away from this book is please present rather than demo, and you will see a huge difference, especially if you're going out and presenting to senior decision makers. Nancy is the master of putting together presentations that move people on an emotional level and also get buy-in from senior decision makers. And that is really one of the key fundamentals of selling and business in general. So get yourself a copy, Persuade Presentations by Nancy Duarte. Great book. Now this next book is a little bit different. Like I said, my books in the list are not sales books as such. And that's a book from a Scottish guy called David Airy, and that is Logo Design Love. Now, I bumped into David Airy when I was looking for a logo designer quite a while back when I first started my first business. He was way out of my budget because he is a master at what he does, a massive craft. And I think I remember first closing this book and thinking to myself, wow, this guy has an absolute precision sales process, what's working fantastically for him. So I think you can take away as a business owner, or maybe a solopreneur if you're one of those, or whether you're a salesperson, sales process is critical. And in this book, David Airy sort of goes from the beginning to the end of his entire sales process, from picking and selecting customers to delivering projects to his customers. And I think one lesson you can also learn out of this is really understanding your value. And if you offer a terrific value like David Airy does, and you're really good at what you do, make sure you get paid for what you do, and don't accept customers who will pay you a silly low amount and negotiate price with you. David Airy, masterful book, Logo Design Love. Get a copy. Next book, and this is by another Scottish guy, and that is The Confessions of an Advertising Man by David Ogilvy. Now, I first came across David Ogilvy when I was watching the TV series Mad Men, because I was searching for who the character Don Draper was based on. And I read in a few places that he was based on David Ogilvy, and I picked up a couple of copies of different books what he's got. Now, David Ogilvy was an unknown Scottish guy with no experience in advertising who moved to New York and created the biggest advertising agency in the world. It's a great book. It will not only give you a good idea of if you're thinking of starting a business, how to start a business, how to win clients, how to manage clients, especially if you run an agency. But I think it's also brilliant from the perspective of, you also get some tips here in regards to writing potent copy for a website, or how to write a good email, for example, or headlines in your email. So I think there's definitely some value a salesperson could take away from a book like this, because it's just an all-round good business book, and you can really get a good fundamental understanding from a business perspective on how to win clients and how to maintain clients as well. So really good book, Confessions of an Advertising Man by David Ogilvy. Next book in the list is another sort of advertising book, and that is Tested Advertising Methods. And this book is by John Caples. You may struggle to get a hold of this book for a reasonable price. I think I bought this about 6 or 7 years ago, but it's gone up. It's quite in demand at the moment. But this book not only focuses on advertising and how to create great adverts, and again how to write great headlines which capture the attention of your audience, but just in general, it's also a great book when it comes to sort of copywriting. How do you write a message, or write an email, or write copy on your website which grabs the attention of your consumer and really sort of drives them into your business to buy from you. So if you can't get a copy of this, what I would say is go out there and get yourself a decent copywriting book, because copywriting is a master skill, and if you can sort of just even improve your writing skills by even 10%, or pick up a couple of little tips, then it's amazing what difference it can make to your sales emails, or your sales letters, or your marketing copy or advertising copy on your websites or adverts. So Tested Advertising Methods, or any other sort of copywriting book, will be a fantastic addition to your skill set. So go grab a copy. Now, the next book on my list, I don't have a physical copy of this one, but it's a book called Made to Stick. And Made to Stick was by Chip and Dan Heath. Now, this book talks about the key ingredients that makes things like fake news or urban myths and things like that gain real traction and get noticed and sort of spread around the world real quickly. So it talks about the elements of a story, what you can add, which basically makes it stick, as the book says. So I really think you can get value out of this book if you combine it with the skills what you'll pick up from Persuade Presentations by Nancy Duarte. So if you combine this Made to Stick with Persuasive Presentations, then you'll be able to deliver presentations, tell story within those presentations, and add these little elements into that story which make sure your audience remembers it above all the other stories and blog posts and videos what they watch during the day. So Made to Stick, great book. I suggest you go out and try and find yourself a copy of that. The next book on my list is The Blue Ocean Strategy, and The Blue Ocean Strategy was written by W. Chan Kim and Renee Malborgner. Now, this is a great business book, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you're in an industry where it's really competitive, because it's a book which teaches you how to go and find your blue ocean, where your competitors are not there and where your customers see you as something a little bit different to what all your competitors are offering. Now, this isn't a book as well. What I like about this book, it isn't a book based on just somebody's idea or opinion or somebody's sort of one-trick success in his company and how it worked. It's actually based on how some of today's biggest brands and biggest companies found their blue ocean. So it's actually quite a statistically based book from past successes of some good companies. So the Blue Ocean Strategy, fantastic book, highly recommended if you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup, or you're in a competitive industry. Go grab yourself a copy of this because I think you can definitely pull something out of it. Next book in the list is Just Listen by Dr. Mark Goulston. Now, this is a brilliant book for anybody who works with people. Okay, so if you're a salesperson and you're working with potential prospects, clients, or if you're a customer account manager or support agent who has to deal with angry people and angry customers all day, or whether you're a manager or CEO, anybody in charge of other people who has to deal with people who are angry or upset and needs to influence them in some way, this book is for you. Essentially, he starts off by talking about a story about how to get across to somebody and communicate with somebody who's about to jump off a bridge and kill themselves, literally. And it really is a sort of a psychological masterpiece, but I wouldn't call it a psychology book as such. It is a real practical book. So I would definitely recommend Just Listen by Mark Goulston if you work with people and you want to try and understand how you can take somebody from being super angry to seeing your point of view and being on your side and buying into whatever it is you're selling. Last but not least, I'm going to throw in there Sir Richard Branson's book, Screw It, Let's Do It. Now, Sir Richard has published, I think, probably another 4 books since that first one, but I'm putting this one on the list because it's the one which inspired me to start my first business. I remember reading this book, probably 9-10 years ago now. And I was at the point in my career where I was thinking about going into business, thinking about starting my own company. I was working full time. I was, on the borderline of whether I wanted to do it or not. And this book really inspired me to, literally screw it and do it. As soon as I finished this book, I was inspired completely. I jumped out of my comfort zone. I started my first business. It was hard work, but it became a success. I sold it a few years later. And I definitely do put the fact that I did that down to reading this book. So it's a real good book. It's kind of like a semi-autobiography story, just an inspiring business book for anybody. And for anybody who knows Sir Richard, pretty much everybody, then you know, of course, there's going to be some fun stories in there, and it's not going to be a dull, boring book. So Screw It, Let's Do It. Definitely recommended reading for anybody in business. So go grab a copy of that if you can. It's been out for a while, so you can probably get it for next to nothing. So that was it. That was my 10 best sales books of all time, or should we say best business books of all time. If you like the video, please like and share it with your network. And if you'd like the chance to win a signed copy of my new B2B sales book, Stop Talking, Start Selling, then all you need to do is share this video on any social media platform and tag me or comment and add me in on the comments in the video so I know you've shared it. And I'm going to give away 3 signed copies, and that's not just the physical book, but I'll also give you the audio book, and I'll give you a copy of the ebook as well. By just sharing the video, commenting on the video, letting me know you've done it. I'll pick 3 winners out of the first 50 people to share, and I'll announce the winners before Christmas and hopefully get the book shipped to you in time for Christmas. So that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and thanks again, Stephen, for asking the question. If anybody else has any requests for videos like this, or lists, or questions about sales, business, entrepreneurship, leadership, please add them in the comments or go to my website at www.davidcraigwhite.com and just send me a message via the contact form. Or you can also message me on pretty much any social media platform as well. Just let me know what you want to know next time, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can.